Hello garden friends and happy fall. Welcome to my channel, DK's Garden Oasis. I am Debbie and I garden in Zone 5B, inspiring you to bloom, grow, and conserve in your garden. So today I'm going to take you around my garden and show you what's still blooming and thriving. Make sure you stay till the end where I share a helpful garden tip about planting your perennials in the fall. So a lot of my garden is still in bloom and thriving, but there are some areas that are tired. So I'm going to start doing some fall cleanup and start emptying out my pots. But there's a lot of areas that still look pretty good. So in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be planting my daffodils and tulips and also some cool flowers. My first annual frost is October 15th, so I'm going to start pulling my bulbs that I had at my cut flower garden and my dahlias. I'm going to keep a couple more weeks there in their prime right now. September is prime for dahlias in my area, so I'm going to wait a couple more weeks before I pull those. But everything else at the cut flower garden is pretty much done for the season, so I'll be cleaning that area up and my other two gardens that I had, and all I'll have left are the dahlias, and I'll show you how I store those for the winter. I'm also possibly working with another farm for a cut flower garden, so stay tuned for that for my future plans for DK's Garden Oasis for 2024. I have also bought most of my seeds for next year. When I went to Baker's Creek, I'll leave that video above, I did buy a lot of my vegetables and a couple flowers for next year, and I also bought a lot of flowers for the cut flower garden from Johnny's. And I did figure out my color palette for next year, so stay tuned for that video on what color theme I will be planting for next year. So let's take a walk around my garden and see what's still blooming around my garden. Okay, so this is going to be my September fall garden tour. And we're going to start off with my crabapple garden. And first thing that we're going to do, so right now, as you can see, there's weeds again. I have done weeding a couple times this summer, but it needs to be done again. But honestly, we're at the end of the season and everything's going to die off. So all of this milkweed, unfortunately, I believe we're going to dig up because this year, really no monarch laid any eggs on this, which was smart and suspicious, but I used these milkweed to feed to the monarchs and they did not survive. And because this neighbor, love this neighbor, but sprayed his lawn with the fungicide, and I'm sure that they were all poisoned. This year was not a good year for me for monarchs. So I am going to pull all this. I do have some pods that I'll show you in the front that I'm going to plant in the backyard. And in the front, those seem to be okay. So I have to come up with something for next year for the monarchs. So this garden, all I'm going to do is let it go to sleep. I have some goldenrod in here. And these are my strawberries and couple sprigs of asparagus. I'm going to leave those go. I won't be growing any new asparagus, but I'm going to be putting all my strawberries here for next year. So these garden beds will all be strawberries of different variations, and they're all doing pretty well, I think. And I've brought over some of them and they are taking off. So they say to really take off the blooms for a better crop next year, so that's what I'm going to do. I have taken off a couple strawberries to eat myself, but yeah, next year these are all going to be strawberries. So they did pretty well, and this one in this hanging pot did really well. I had another one on the other side and that one did not, so I'm going to transplant that one probably sometime this week. And then, as you can see, besides the weeds, I have some hostas, lavender, salvia, and we have some wolf thistle and my peony there that I have to cut down. Definitely has some powdery mildew on it, which they always do this time of year. I have an aster over there, the purple aster, and this is my almond tree doing really well. So let's go around to the front and I will show you what that looks like. After I do film this, I will be changing everything over to fall. Actually, I wanted to show you my deck and the flowers on there. They have exploded, and some of these I'm going to leave for a little bit because they have fall-like colors. I am going to pull this one, my hanging baskets, but my pots that have the potato vines and elephant ears and coleus are looking fantastic, and this one has overtaken the cannas, as you could see. So I'm going to leave that for a couple more weeks before I pull them, wait till probably the first frost. This one I am going to pull. It looks like it's on its way out, so I will be pulling that one. These are doing okay for a couple more weeks. It looks like I'm going to get some blooms on this one, this canna. And this one I'll be pulling some more blooms on this canna. Elephant ears, and off in the distance you could see my Mexican sunflowers. These are my plants for my I pollinate, which has ended. I will be starting to take those and getting rid of all of these except for my milkweed. Milkweed, I will put a bag over it and put it on the deck. It did survive last winter, so that's what I'll be doing again. This is exploded. I have sunflowers. I have zinnias. There's some celosia in there somewhere. I'll barely see it. It's down there. But lots of zinnias and some unique sunflowers in here. So this I'll just be waiting till first frost, and then I will be cleaning this all up. And I do have one dahlia. It's the Japanese bishop, which that bee is going into right now. So that I will be pulling because that survived the winter, which I was surprised. And then, oh, this is from my farm garden, my huge sunflower. I cut off the seed head, and you could see something has been chowing down on the seeds. Oh, that's okay. I have a blueberry bush over here, and these are some more annuals. The familiar or firecracker plant is the hummingbird's favorite, absolute favorite, one of its favorite flowers, because if you can't see, they are tubular and only hummingbirds can get in those. So comes every day, morning and night, and goes and gets nectar from those. I have some dahlias over there. So I have some yellow, some purple, and some red. So I will be, right now is when dahlias are in full swing. And here's another one of my vermiliars, and my eucalyptus is going crazy as well. And then I have a huge, let me come over here. And this is what I couldn't remember, my green stalk. So I have a couple more of my strawberries and onions and chives to go through and plant. I'm going to plant all these strawberries, and then I'm going to cut the green peppers and chives as well. I have some herbs over here. And then we will go on this side to my elephant ear, huge elephant ear. And then we'll go down here to my sunken garden. In my sunken garden, and that's a pawpaw tree, my butterfly bush. I have some yarrow in there, my Rosa Sharon, and I have some zinnias that finally came up. And my 7-flower tree is almost done blooming. I'm going to be doing a short on this tree. The bees love it, and very short-lived blooms because this whole thing was in bloom earlier this week. And everything else is pretty much done besides my trumpet vine. Again, another hummingbird favorite flower, you can see, because it has small tubular flowers. All my coneflowers are almost done. And My Rose of Sharon right here has exploded. I did trim it in the middle of the summer, and now it just has beautiful blooms right now. Here's my pollinator garden. I did prune all of this except the cone flowers, and it's filling in again. I'm going to have to cut back the rue here. And I did put some yarrow in here and some more pollinator plants. So that's doing good. And now I will go to the front and show you my front entrance, and then I will show you how at the end what it looks like when I change it over to fall. So let's go to the front entrance. Okay, this is the front entrance. I have the two pots, or I have the two that have some flowers in the front. I'm going to change that over, and I'm going to just put some, I'm going to spray these plants because these all come inside my pineapple, my cactus plant, which now you can see. If anybody knows what this plant is, please leave it in the description box below. But it has beautiful pink flowers in the late summer. So this I bring in every year, and it survives. And my pineapple still doesn't have a pineapple, but it's getting huge. Might have to transplant that next year, but it's, as you can see, I don't know if you can see, it's got teeth on the branches and or the leaves, and it's very spiky. And I have two lemon trees here. I'm going to try to bring them in and put them, this time I'm going to put them downstairs with the other plants that survived, but I don't know, they don't seem to like it in my house. So I'm going to try it again, and hopefully they survive because they're looking really good right now. And here is my front entrance. So as you can see, everything is gone crazy now. My caladiums and all of my planters. So I am going to remove all of these. I did buy a couple of mums. This is a tricolor mum from the garden center I work at. And I will be changing all of my pots over to mums and fall plants. And I wanted to show you, these are the milkweed pots. They're not splitting yet. So once they start splitting, I will be putting those in my backyard garden. And all of these plants, again, I'm going to be cleaning up this week. And then I will show you what the fall looks like in a couple of days. Alright, I have just changed over all of my summer annuals over to fall. So this is what I have done. I'm going to leave out my lemon trees and my cactus flower and my pineapple. I put some mosquito bites in there to kill any kind of egg larvae, so I can bring those inside in a couple weeks. But those are going to be brought in the next couple weeks. So these two planters, I have some pansies, a mum, and a couple Rebeckia, and some grasses. And I did the same on the other one. And then I changed everything over here to fall. And so I have some mums, I have some pansies, some ornamental pepper, and then in this one I have some ornamental kale, pansies, celosia, mums, and another grass, and I believe I have a verbena in there as well. And the other thing that I have in here is all of my pumpkins that I grew this year. There's not a huge amount, but this was just a practice year just to see the different specialty pumpkins, and I will be growing all of these next year, plus a lot more, so that will be my next video, so stay tuned for that. So this is my fall entrance, and I hope everybody enjoys the cooler weather. Not looking forward to what comes after that, but this is my fall entrance. Next week I will be doing a video on my pumpkin harvest. I grew just a few pumpkins this year just as a trial to see which pumpkins I would like. I grew mainly specialty pumpkins and more the variety that are a little bit smaller, not your big jack-o'-lanterns, and I'm going to expand on that next year. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell for that next video. Now I'd like to share that helpful garden tip about planting your perennials in the fall. Happy fall, y'all. Thanks for watching and happy gardening. Bye-bye.